Marcy McKenna is an accomplished product innovator and entrepreneur, having successfully designed, developed, marketed, and launched over 40 products via live shopping, e-commerce, and big box retail. With more than 14 years of experience in the live shopping space, both as a brand on Home Shopping Network, QVC, and Amazon, and as a product spokesperson influencer on today's most popular live commerce platforms, including Amazon Live, Pinterest TV, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Grommet Live, and the list goes on. Marcy has seen firsthand the power live shopping can bring to product-based businesses, both big and small. With that in mind, she recently created and launched the Live Shopping Academy with the goal of teaching e-commerce brands, Amazon sellers, and product entrepreneurs how to harness the power of live shopping to build their brands and bring them to new heights.
Yeah,
During COVID, Marcy embarked on a passion project to help educate, inspire, and empower her fellow female innovators to follow their entrepreneurial dreams. We love that here at WEG. She founded and runs the Women Inventors Club, which is now made up of more than 1,000 ambitious creative women who are locking arms to help one another bring their product ideas to life and build successful businesses. That's wonderful. So without further ado, I'm going to take my webcam off and the floor is yours, Marcy.
Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you guys for inviting me to speak on a topic that, as Laura so perfectly put, I'm just incredibly passionate about, because I have known firsthand for a very long time, about 14, 15 years now, how powerful live shopping can be. And yet, until now, I really believe until this year, 2025, live shopping has seemed so out of reach for so many people, for so many brands, for so many inventors and product-based businesses in general. There was QVC and HSN, and they were sort of kind of the holy grail of live shopping. So many people wanted to get their products on there, but it is, and you may already know, it's just a really big uphill battle to get noticed by one of those channels. And then if you do get noticed and you do get to get on, you have the opportunity to be featured on one, it can be incredibly risky because the numbers are big. If it doesn't go well, everything gets sent back to you. So it's really, sort of a bittersweet opportunity on many levels. Today, because of live shopping, now you have access really at your fingertips for so little money, for such low barriers to entry, the ability to have your own HSN or QVC, to be able to pull that lever and sell your product live in front of audiences worldwide, any time of day, 24/7. And it's a very, very exciting proposition. I will tell you that my journey in live shopping actually began, I think it was 2010. I get my years mixed up, but I was on an invention reality show way back then, that Kelly Ripa did. And she was searching for female entrepreneurs that had a product that could potentially do well in the live shopping, the home shopping space at the time. And the winner would have her product marketed and sold on HSN. So I went on the show, the stars were aligned. I ended up becoming the winner of Homemade Millionaire, was what it was called. And I got to have my product featured, and not just have my product featured, but I was going to be hosting alongside their professional hosts, but with my product. And that was incredibly scary to me, as I'm sure, I think it is to most people, just the thought of being on camera in front of, at the time, I think their audience was 90 million households. So I didn't even know what HSN was. I started watching it. I was fascinated immediately with what I saw. I was just trying to learn about what it was, and I found myself buying. The first show I watched, Joy Mangano was on. I'll never forget it. And I, again, was just watching to learn. And before I knew it, I had purchased 4 items on that very show. And I thought, what is this about this live shopping medium that has pulled me in and created an add to cart moment where I had to buy what she was selling? And I realized in that moment that it really was that personal connection, that I got to know Joy Mangano when I was watching her. I felt like I knew her. I really liked her and I trusted her. That know, like, and trust factor was there. And because of that, I wanted to buy. I believed in what she was saying, and she gave me so many great ideas for how I could use these items that I bought in. And when the item came, I felt like I knew it so well because she had described it so perfectly. I knew ways to use it that I would have never known if I had just seen this either in a store or on a static e-commerce page somewhere. So that whole experience, that one show that I watched, it really triggered a light bulb in my head about, wow, this is exciting. And knowing that I had this whole product line in my mind of all these products I was going to launch, I couldn't think of a better medium to sell the products. Because if I could do what Joy Mangano did, the sky's the limit with what I could do with my brand. So that was really that was the moment for me that I was bought into live shopping. And then I went to HSN Studios and I did get to launch my product. And I remember sitting in the green room and watching those TVs, and they had all the statistic or all the numbers on there. It was like being in Las Vegas. And you're watching people go up with their products, and the numbers were just incredible. You never dreamed that that kind of volume could be done in a 10-minute segment. But my gosh, does it? I mean, it really is something to see. But again, that was also kind of pie in the sky, unattainable for brands until now. And this really is the year in America, I will say. And I know that we are speaking globally here, which makes it even more exciting to me, because America really has been kind of behind the curve when it comes to live shopping. And we're finally catching up. And you're probably hearing about it everywhere. It's kind of become the buzzword of 2025. And that's because we're finally seeing live shopping working. And as Laura introduced me, I am someone who has a product line, a physical product line. It's a travel product line that I still to this day have on HSN. And so what I'm mostly speaking to today is live shopping for physical products. But the reality is that it's for almost any product. It could be a service product. It could be real estate. It could be anything, because that's what we're seeing. It is working on so many levels. It's incredible. And so we're going to get into all of that today. As you can probably tell, I'm jumping out of my skin. So excited to talk to you guys about this, because whatever business that you're in, live shopping is something that you can grab onto, in my opinion, and from what I have experienced and seen. It is the single most affordable, accessible way for you to market your product, yourself, to the masses. And you guys know what's happening right now with ad spend. I mean, it is going through the roof. It is getting harder and harder and harder to get your product noticed, to get your brand seen, because number one, the prices or the cost of doing that kind of ad spend on a level that can make a dent and move the needle is through the roof. And the other thing that's happening is that e-commerce space is so crowded. I think of Amazon, and that I think the last statistic I heard was that there are 700 million products, and it's probably way beyond that now. But how do you stand out? How do you find your audience? How do you connect and actually get sales? And then once you have those sales, how do you keep that customer as a loyal customer so that you can continue to retarget and to sell them more products down the road? I see live shopping as an incredible means to that end. And I'm going to show you why in just a second. I'm going to go to my slideshow here. Just want to go through some statistics so that you guys do understand the enormity of the opportunity that is in front of all of you, all of us. And that's what I probably love most about it, is it's for everybody. And the barrier to entry is incredibly low. But the global live shopping market is expected to reach $1.6 billion by the end of this year. What I love about this first check mark here, bullet point here, is that in just 5 years from now, that number is expected to grow from 1.6 billion to 7.2 billion. So that is just incredible year over year growth. There is just no end in sight. And so I truly believe that the brands that can recognize that now and get in now and kind of create that well-oiled machine around live shopping, they are the ones that are going to stand out and that are going to be really noticed by the consumers. And so that opportunity is there for the taking, because this is the time when it is still so new. And yet Americans right now, not just Americans, worldwide, this is what they're expecting. This is what they're loving. Because as you can see, I'm going to go down to the third bullet point, 82% of consumers prefer live content from brands over traditional social media. I think they're bored with social media. I think they want something more. They want that human interaction. I mean, we are living in this world of tech where there's just so little human interaction. And I believe that that's one of the greatest reasons why it is resonating so well. So consumers are expecting it, especially millennials and Gen Zs. They're all already doing it. And if you have a product, if you are a brand, and you're not at least thinking of a way to start doing it, you really are risking being left behind and missing the boat altogether. So I do think that's really important. In the US, it's projected to exceed $90 billion in annual revenue in 2025, and that is a growth rate of 36% this year. The reason I did include that is because what's exciting to me about that bullet point is that originally that number was projected to be 68 billion, and it was just updated to 90 billion. And that's what's happened 3 years in a row. Whatever statistic, wherever they set that bar, was too low, and they had to modify it and bring it up substantially. So 68 billion to 90 billion. So it's just showing you that this is growth that nobody saw coming, and it's happening fast. And so we're going to get into how you can kind of get on that bandwagon and start jumping in and reaping all the benefits that you're going to learn about in just a minute as well. 73% of consumers said they were more likely to purchase after watching a live shopping event. And as you will see, this is a statistic you have probably heard before, and you'll hear it again during this presentation. And that is conversion rate with live shopping. So when I say 73% said they were more likely to purchase during a live shopping event, that lends itself to that conversion statistic that is being seen and heard everywhere. And that is your sales conversion rates with live shopping are jumping 10x. So the typical sales conversion rate with just a traditional e-commerce static web page hovers right around 2.3%. With live shopping, we're seeing conversion rates averaging 20 to 30%. Well, I would say, when I say averaging, more like 10 to 30%. That's kind of the range that you'll see. And there's lots of different factors involved with that. I actually put together what I'm calling a live shopping sales calculator, where it asks you a few different questions. You can plug in your answers to those questions, and it can calculate what live shopping could potentially do for your particular business. And so that's something I'll make sure that gets sent to you guys if anybody's interested in knowing what it could mean to your business. It's really pretty fascinating. And then live shopping has been the fastest growing digital marketing segment for 3 straight years. I actually think it's 4 straight years now. So again, just no end in sight. And it's exciting, really, really exciting. Why is live shopping so successful? We talked about a couple reasons, but here's my hypothesis for what it's worth. I think when we think of retail, when we think of consumer product goods and selling to consumers, there really are 2 distinct worlds. There is e-commerce and there is brick and mortar traditional retail. And there's good and bad to both of them for sure. I think when we think of e-commerce, what's good about it is that at any given time, our audience reach is massive. There's nobody that we cannot reach 24/7. There are no barriers geographically, right? And then in brick and mortar, that's probably the downfall, is that there are those geographic borders. It's, whatever that radius is from that storefront is basically what you're limited to. Now, with brick and mortar, where their big asset is that their conversion rates are much, much higher than e-commerce. And why is that? I think with traditional brick and mortar, you think about it, you walk into a store, you have a salesperson come up to you, ask you if you need any help. Maybe you have questions. You can ask them the questions. They can answer the questions. You can actually pick the product up. You can touch it and feel it. If it's maybe you're maybe you're in a clothing department, you can try it on, you can see the fabric, you can look at sizes, all of that. There's this tactile sensation that happens when you're in brick and mortar, hence the reason that the conversion rates are so high there. Now with e-commerce, unfortunately, as you know, traditional e-commerce with the static listing pages, you're not getting any of that. There's not a human being there. You're not getting that tactile sort of sensation that I think we all need to be able to make a good purchasing decision. And so what happens with live shopping, it's like that perfect cocktail that mixes the very best of retail and brick and mortar with the very best of e-commerce. And it brings those two worlds together so that you're getting unlimited reach that you have with e-commerce, and you're getting that one-to-one sort of concierge sales service that you get in brick and mortar. You get both of those together. And then on top of that, because when you're watching a live shopping event, there's all these other people that are on that event with you, it makes it a lot of fun. People love live shopping events. When they come back again and again and again because it's a lot of fun. But there's also that element of FOMO that happens is you're seeing people buying and you want to get in on that. You don't want to miss out, especially if they have some exciting deal going on, or they're doing a brand new product launch, or whatever it happens to be. You want in on it. And it's just kind of this natural phenomenon that happens with live shopping. So that's really, I think, why it is initially so successful. But I think what's even more exciting is so now we know this thing works, but all of a sudden brands, and I've been seeing this for the past 15 years with my own brand, but they're noticing all of these longer term benefits that they would have never seen coming. And we're going to get into those, but they are incredibly valuable. And these are things that are going to lead to a long-term business success for all of you that do decide to get into live shopping. Before I get there, I'm going to hit this slide here because if you're watching right now, which you are, you might be wondering if your product is right for live shopping. That's a question I get a lot. Well, I have this kind of product. Do you think this could do well? So I wanted to put this chart up to give you a sense of which products are doing well. And I will say, without question, far and away, fashion. Well, there's two categories that are kind of the big winners in live shopping initially. And that was fashion and beauty. Those two are sort of no-brainers because they're so demonstrable. They're, the trying on, you're seeing it on somebody. You can ask questions about the sizing, things like that. And then the beauty, the DIY, beauty hacks, your beauty tutorials, things like that are so fun to watch. And you're not just watching them, you're actually interacting with whoever it is that's hosting the show. So you can get beauty tips and tricks and things like that. And the conversion rates for both of those categories are through the roof. Done well, they are through the roof. But what I love about this slide is that it shows you that they are so not limited to just those two categories. That used to be the old school of thought was, if you don't have those two, then why would you do live shopping? I'm here to tell you, because I host a show every week called Grommet Live. We cross every single product category you can imagine on Grommet Live. There is no product that does not resonate with live shopping, whether it is a tech gadget, whether it is a gardening tool, whether it is a home decor item. It could be anything. It resonates. People have questions about products. People want to connect authentically with the brand story. They want to hear about how did it really come about and what's great about it. How do I use it? All those things apply to every single category. So don't limit yourself because in your mind, you're thinking that doesn't work on live shopping. It really works for anybody that's, excited enough to jump in and try it. We talked about the 10x conversion. I want to hit on a couple other statistics that this goes back to what I was just saying about these hidden benefits that are happening. And these are things that nobody saw coming unless you happen to have been in QVC and HSN world, which of course I was. So I was seeing them both for my own brand and all of these other brands that were just becoming household names overnight and building these very viable long-term businesses around live shopping. And here's why. The number two statistic, this is kind of, to me, just very obvious. If you start doing live shopping, there's 90% of people report that their sales go up. Of course they do, because you're basically introducing a brand new revenue stream. It's a new way of selling your product to new audiences. So your conversions are going to go up. Or I'm sorry, your sales are going to go up right away. The increase in average order spend. This one is so huge. This one, if nothing else, oh my gosh, because it is spot on. In fact, I would venture to say that 30% increase in average customer spend is low. Because what happens with live shopping, I always use the example because I do a fair amount of beauty live shopping shows. And so if I am selling makeup foundation, and they're seeing me put it on, and I'm saying, well, if you love if you're going to get the foundation, I highly recommend this foundation brush. And here's why. The bristles are very, very fine. So you're getting that airbrush look. You're getting that blur that we're all after with our foundation. So it's that flawless makeup application. So the two of these really are that 1-2 punch when it comes to putting on your foundation. And if you're someone that likes those high cheekbones, there's this other makeup brush I want to recommend as well. And this is a contour brush. And let me show you this contour powder that makes it seamless to get those high cheekbones. So you can imagine how originally we're just selling the foundation, and now we've sold 2 brushes and a contour powder. That happens all day long with live shopping, no matter what category you're in. I do it with my own products, my travel line, because I'll be selling my luggage, but then I'll say, oh, and if you're getting this, have you seen my packing cubes? Because you won't believe how much more you can fit into my luggage when you use these packing cubes. And if you know someone in your life that likes to travel, or that is a business traveler, oh my gosh, they will thank you forever for packing cubes. And so you're giving them gifting ideas. You're giving them different ways to use the products. And then all of a sudden, they came just to buy the luggage, but now they've bought 5 sets of packing cubes, and it just goes on and on and on. So it is so exciting, because that is a KPI. That is a sort of a measuring point that everybody is trying to grow. It is, I can tell you, even just with HSN, when we did an all company meeting not long ago, that was the number one goal, was to increase average order spend. And that's already very high because they're live shopping to begin with, but they're looking for different ways, whether they're bundling things together. But live shopping lends itself incredibly well to increasing, doubling, tripling the average order spend of anyone watching. And then this was a great one that very few people could have ever even imagined, but they're seeing this almost immediately. And that is returns going down by up to 50%. And if you are in retail, if you are in e-commerce, you know that returns can kill a business. It is very hard to survive if you have a high return rate. Because live shopping is speaking directly to the consumer, teaching the consumer how to use the product. The consumer is seeing the product. They're seeing the size of it. They're seeing, and if you're doing a good job on live shopping, you're telling them how not to use the product. Also, you're telling them the mistakes that can happen when you're using the product. So because of that, by the time the product gets to you, I'm going to go back to my Joy Mangano example in the beginning. When the product came to me, I knew I loved it. There's no way I was sending it back, because I was so bought in because of everything I learned during that live shopping event. And so that's what's happening. People are getting the products. They know how to use them. They love them already. They're not being sent back. And not only that, because they know you, they've gotten to know you during that event, they're so much more likely to write a positive review. And we know that that is everything right now. Consumers, that social proof, those positive reviews are so important. So you're getting more positive reviews, and also the level, like the 5 stars is going up, the number of 5-star reviews that you're getting. Because in the past, so many people would write, I almost never write reviews, but I am this time because of this. I would never write a review. But if I knew the person, I wanted to help them, because you really like that person. And then when you get this prompt to write a review, you're much more apt to do that. So that's another thing that's happening in live shopping that's really, really cool. Customer engagement goes without saying, because when you are doing live shopping, it's so much fun, and you can learn different ways to prompt the audience to engage with you, to ask them questions, to get them to respond. And here's what's exciting. I have it on here, the increased organic SEO. When you're doing a live shopping event and you have the audience responding to your questions, even just giving a thumbs up. Tell me, do you like this color? Which color do you like the best? Whatever it is that you're asking, that is triggering the algorithm. If you're on Facebook doing a live event or Instagram, all of a sudden, the powers that be at Facebook and Instagram are going, wow, there's something cool going on over there. We're going to push this out to more and more people. And before you know it, maybe you're hosting your first show and you will have 5 people on. And before you know it, you have 200, 300. It just starts going up because they're pushing your show out to audiences you never dreamed you could reach on your own. So it's like you have this little social media team working for you and you're not spending a penny doing it. So exciting stuff. Just a few more hidden benefits I'm going to touch on, but I'm making them sound like they're little. They're actually quite big and quite exciting. One of my very favorites is that it is the single easiest, fastest way to grow your email subscriber list. And unless you're living under a rock, you know how important it is. So valuable to have your own, where you own that customer data. Nobody can take it away from you. I know how valuable that is because my YouTube channel has been shut down twice. It was hacked. I don't know how, I don't know why, but just immediately these followers that took me 12 years to build, gone overnight. And so having that email subscriber list, and a very targeted one, not just a bunch of people that, signed on for something that has nothing to do with your product line. But when you're hosting an event, if you decide to do a giveaway, let's say, there's lots of different strategies for getting those emails, but I always do giveaways on every event that I do. And everybody's opting into the giveaways because they want to win. And so I'm getting this and they want to win a product of mine. So I know they like my product. So it's targeted. And so it's like in your sleep, your email list is growing astronomically. It's really, really exciting. The other thing is every time you host a show, that number 2, content. It is a built-in content machine for you. Because let's say you host a show that's a half an hour or 1 hour, whatever time it is, you can splice that. You can hand up over that content. If you don't know how to edit yourself, you can get someone on Fiverr or Upwork to do it for you for very little money. And that becomes 10, 12 pieces of content that you have to put out in social media. And I know how difficult it can be to come up with valuable content to share. And so this is content that you can share that's evergreen, and you can put it in your content bank and use it again and again and again. You'll have more content from live shopping than you will know what to do with. So that's a big problem in my world, and that problem solved. So I love that. We already talked about the SEO ranking, but what I want to hit on here is that if you host your show on your website or you embed it later on your website, that is going to significantly, measurably increase your SEO ranking because it increases the time on page. Right now, the average person that's coming to your website is probably there 2 or 3 seconds, I think is the latest statistics I've heard. But when you're hosting a live shopping show, the typical, right now my shows, I think my average watch time is about 22 minutes. So from 2 to 3 seconds to 22 minutes is a huge jump. And Google pays attention to that. Oh, wow, these guys are staying on this site for that long. So if you're hosting every week, imagine, or even if it's once a month, imagine what that will do to your SEO ranking by having that on your site. And not only that, it's also ensuring that you are putting fresh content on your site. And Google loves that too. So you're going to be, all of a sudden getting noticed in the Google rankings. So that too is very exciting and something that people didn't foresee, but it's happening. And now they're like, oh, like all these kind of light bulbs are going off around live shopping. And lastly, I just want to say that I am an inventor, product entrepreneur. I use live shopping for all of my product research. It is my most valuable market research tool. And anyone that's been doing live shopping will tell you the same. And they didn't see it coming. They weren't thinking of it in that way, nor was I. But now, because it's my one way to reach directly to the people who are buying my products and ask them what they like, ask them what they want, what colors, what feature could they live without, what feature do they wish it had. And that's how I create products that get sold, because I'm creating the products directly for the people who are going to be buying them. And they love being a part of that process too. They love when I ask them those questions. And then when that product finally launches, I've got this built-in tribe of loyal, excited fans and followers, and they're sharing it with their friends and family as well. So it's a very cool market research tool. Again, hidden benefit for sure. So when it comes to live shopping, if you're going to do live shopping, and I'm going to get into kind of how do we get started? Where do I do it? I know there's probably tons of questions because it is so exciting, but how can you ensure that you have a good show and that you create a live shopping initiative that works and that kind of stays with you for the long haul so that you can get all the benefits that I've been talking about? So there's just some very key things that I want to say. One of those is, if you're going to do it, think about how often you can do it. Like, what is realistic for you? There's no perfect answer here, whether it's once a quarter, once a month, once a week, every day, whatever that is, decide on it and stick with it. And stick with it at the same day and time, because it is incredible because I've changed it up a few times to kind of test different times. And it really, my numbers will go down because people are expecting at a certain time and they come back. Trust me, they come back. They really become very, very loyal to your show. And so that consistency is key. And the numbers, if you build it, they will come. And I'm certain that everybody watching, or most people watching, are thinking, who's going to want to watch my live shopping event? And where would I find people anyway? My first show had 3 people watching. And actually, you guys, that is totally fine, because as I'm going to show you, it's what you do with the content after that matters the most. So even if nobody's there, that's okay, because you're going to take that content, splice it and dice it like we talked about, push it out to the masses, and that's where the traffic starts to build, the audience starts to build. And so it will happen over time. And who is the right host for the event? I know this is a question I get a lot. Most people don't want to host it themselves because they're scared to death of being on camera. I will tell you that in the Live Shopping Academy, that's one of, kind of, in my opinion, one of the greatest modules, I will say, is about hosting your own events, because I do believe that there's no one better to tell the story of your product than you, and you can do it. Anybody can do it, and there are different, tips and tricks to doing it and doing it well and really connecting with an audience, and that can all be taught. It's not something that you're necessarily born with. It can all be taught. So I do recommend that. It's not for everybody, and if it's not for you, you can hire a host to do it for you. You can either hire someone on the outside, or there could be someone internally that's very passionate about your product, works for your company. It could be a brother or sister. It could be anybody. But finding that right host to do your event is really, really important. And the great news is, there was a school of thought that the only way to have a successful live shopping event is to have a big macro influencer host the event. Not true. And that has been proven again and again. In fact, to the contrary, those events typically don't do so well. It's the ones that have hosts that authentically love the product and are passionate about the product. They can be micro, nano influencers, or not an influencer at all, but they are authentically speaking to the product, and that resonates. That's where the conversions come in. Yes, the Kim Kardashians will draw the eyeballs, but typically they're not converting. So it's your time and money is much more well spent on the smaller, more authentic, more passionate people that are around your brand or your product. Let's see what else. Pre-event promotion. It is important if you want to build that big audience, and there are definitely frameworks and strategies that I have to help you build that audience. But like I said, even if nobody's there, that's okay. And so I almost wanted to leave that off of best practices, because that's not the number one. The number one is the post-show content repurposing. So that is, and there's all kinds of strategies for doing that, but it's really quite easy, and it can grow your traffic and your sales significantly over the long haul. And that's where the SEO first page rankings. It's been incredible on Grommet Live. During the show, many times there won't be a lot of sales because it's sort of an infotainment kind of a show. So it's really people just kind of having fun. And then the sales will happen after the show. In fact, the statistic in the space is that about 80% of sales happen after the live shopping event. And so grabbing their email to be able to kind of retarget after that event is really important. But what Grommet is seeing is that when we're slicing and dicing that content and creating a little video around each product that I feature, they're getting page 1 rankings on all of those, not all of the products, but a lot of the products because of those clips that happen after the event. So that's really important as well. So what I do, and what really my whole goal, my purpose in being here with all of you guys today, was just to really shine a light on this tool, this marketing tool that is there for the taking for all of you. This is a tool that can be done on your own website, where you can invite your own existing followers. If you're new to live shopping and if your follower base is not that great, is not that big, then I highly recommend that you use a tool. The one that I use right now is called Restream, which allows me to host my event. If I'm doing Amazon Live, let's say, I can have that event on Amazon, but I can simulcast that onto Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, YouTube. I can be everywhere at one time. So you can imagine, especially if I'm triggering that algorithm by keeping the audience engaged, how my audience can grow very quickly with live shopping to eyeballs, to people, to audiences that would have never known my brand or seen my product before. These tools are so inexpensive and they're all there and ready for you to dive into. I mean, you can theoretically start doing live shopping overnight. It's that easy. You do need to have, decent equipment. And I actually do have a gear guide of the basic equipment that you need to get started. And there's 3 kind of good, better, best, because depending on what kind of budget you're on. So I kind of outline all that. So if that's something you're interested in, but it is really quite simple to get started. And again, it can be done on your own website. It can be done on a marketplace website like Amazon Live. There's another one that I like called Market Live. Let's see, TikTok Shop. My gosh, what's happening there is just incredible. So that's obviously a huge, huge opportunity. Whatnot, you guys may have heard of. That's another big opportunity that's sort of going through a transition right now, away from, used to be just kind of peer-to-peer, selling from your closet clothes that you weren't wearing anymore. But now the e-commerce brands are sort of migrating over to Whatnot. So that's becoming a new avenue as well. Or you can just start live shopping on Facebook Live or Instagram Live or YouTube Live. So there's all kinds of different ways to get started. And again, your equipment level does not have to be that big. So it's really, as I said, just wanting you to understand the opportunity that's there and to recognize that it doesn't take a lot to get started, and that the benefits that you can get from live shopping once you do are truly incredible for any business. And so with that, on this last slide here is just how to connect with me and how to kind of get any of the resources that I have mentioned. And that is probably the easiest way is just on my website, which is marcymckenna.com. But you can also email me directly with any questions. And then, of course, on all of my social media as well. And the Live Shopping Academy itself, if that's something you're interested in, that is also, all that information is on my website as well. And so with that, I would love to invite Laura back in and we can go through some Q&A.
Super. Thank you, Marcy. That was tons of fun and people are loving it. I'm getting a lot of comments and questions that are just like, this is so great. We want more. I think you've got a lot of people on board who are doing products and having them out in the marketplace, but are not doing it in live shopping. So people are excited. I've never actually live shopped before. So I'm personally a little bit excited about it too. I do have a quick question. And people were asking about the embeds after these live shows. My question is, how does the audience participate in this? Like, are they, because I imagine there's some issues, like, can people choose to share their webcam? They're asking live questions.
Mhm.
What do you do if you want to embed that on your site? Doesn't sound like you could necessarily do that, or maybe you can.
Typically, the way live shopping works is that all of the interaction happens inside the chat. And so it's not that the consumer would have their webcam on, so they're just chatting. And so when I talked about when simulcasting across all the different social media platforms, when I'm inside my dashboard, if you will, which is basically my laptop, and I can see all the questions that are coming in from all the different platforms, so YouTube and Facebook and all of those. Wherever the consumer is watching from, if they're on YouTube watching, they're only going to see the chat that's on YouTube. So that's kind of a limitation right now of doing the live platforms like that. But if you have people on your own website, which I do recommend for sure, if you can do my kind of sort of the golden rule would be to have it on your own site, because you are, getting that watch time, which is really important. You're also being able to capture data that you wouldn't be able to capture elsewhere. So that's key. But I would do it there, and then I would simulcast to other places like Facebook and Instagram. And there are wonderful platforms. If you are a Shopify storefront, for example, there is a platform that I really love called LiveMeUp. And it's really just an app on Shopify. It's a Shopify app that you can add very affordably and quickly. And that allows you to do live shopping from your Shopify storefront, and automatically it's all built in to simulcast to I think they do Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And for sure Facebook and Instagram, I think YouTube as well. So there's so many tools that make it so seamless and so easy. And that's happening quickly. I mean, I've been basically shouting live shopping from the rooftops for years, and it's just the past 1 to 2 years that you're seeing these really cool platforms that make it so easy.
Super. Okay. Here's a question. How do I know if my product is right for live shopping? And is there a price point that does best with live shopping?
Great question. In terms of if your product's right for live shopping, I would go back to the slide. Let's see if I can get back there quickly. There it is. That talks about the top categories for live shopping. And this is really recent data. But as you can see, there are 6 categories, really could be expanded, because some of them, or actually all of them, cover 2 niches. So it's really, you're looking at 12 categories right there. But as I was saying earlier, there's no category that doesn't work. I have not seen one that does not work. I mean, there are some that lend themselves more to it, like fashion and beauty, definitely. Also food and beverage. Anything cooking wise, I mean, grocery stores are having huge success with live shopping. Fresh Market, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Fresh Market. They're sort of the pioneers in the live shopping space for grocery. And it's incredible what the statistics that they have around their sales and watch time and all of that. It really resonates. It's something that people like to watch and learn. Because I really would love, and I should have hit on this earlier, is to say that live shopping almost implies that it's all about sales and buying. And I actually think of it very differently. And I would encourage everybody else to as well, that it really, if you can think of it more as infotainment, something that you want people to want to come back. If they're being hard sold every time that they're there, there's something off-putting about that. So I always have a goal that they have a good time. I feel like I'm hosting this little party, and I have these guests there, and I want them to be entertained and laugh and have fun, or I should say that they learn something, that at the end of the show, they have learned a new way to do something, or a new fact that they didn't know that might help them with something. So it doesn't have to be that hard sell. And I think that's why those categories are doing so well, is that they're doing tutorials. So people are learning how to do beauty, and in the process, they're buying the products that they're learning. And same with that Fresh Market example, is they're cooking, they're learning new recipes, and then they're buying the products that go along with whatever it is that's being taught. Crafting is a new one that's really making headway in live shopping, is that people are, teaching crafting things and then selling the things that they're using to teach. So
super. And then is there a price point that does better or that people should aim for?
My favorite price point in live shopping is under 100, because anything could work. Like I said, in Asia, they're selling yachts with live shopping and, multi-million-dollar homes and things like that. So anything works, but I like under 100 because of the giftability. It's an easy self-purchase also for a lot of people. The sweet spot is really 40 to 60, because that is really, sort of that giftable price point for a lot of people. That's the high end of giftable. On Grant Live, we do a lot of $25 and under products that do really, really well, because it's that, and you're giving them ideas for gifting, and then all of a sudden they were buying one and now they're buying 6. And so it works really well.
Super. Okay, switching gears a bit, what kind of costs are associated for you, the seller on live shopping, when you're working with these, third-party platforms like QVC and HSN? How does that relationship work? Do you owe them a certain percent? Explain that a bit more.
Good question. QVC and HSN are sort of a different animal, I will say, because that's the traditional live shopping. Although there's a lot of newness happening with QVC and HSN. They actually are on TikTok Live now 24/7. And that just recently happened, and it's the first company to ever do that. And there was a big question mark as to how well that's going to do, because their audience tends to be a little bit older and TikTok's is younger. It's actually doing really well. So that's kind of exciting. But they're a different entity, because they are a platform where they're actually buying your product. And so there is a margin structure there of what what kind of margin they need to get on the product and where it needs to sell. Whereas if you are selling your own product line using a LiveMeUp, let's say, as your app or your platform to be able to simulcast and all of that, you're paying LiveMeUp a fee to use that. And it's quite low. I don't want to quote because I don't have it in front of me, but you can go onto the app site to see. Some of the platforms will do percentage of sales, a low percentage of sales. Other ones will do just a monthly fee, and you get X amount of hours of live shopping time to do those. So again, I'm loving all these platforms, because my biggest thing is that I wanted there to be such a low barrier to entry. I wanted this to be an affordable way to get your product out there. And that's, if you can simulcast, and that hidden benefit of having that Facebook team working for you to get that product in front of new audiences, because Facebook wins because your watch time is so high. They love that. They love live shopping on Facebook and Instagram, because it's not these quick things. It's this long show. So they are really working hard behind the scenes to push those shows out to new audiences. And here's the best part of that. What they do best is those lookalike audiences. So they see who's buying on your show, and they go out very quickly with all their, mechanisms that they have behind the scenes. They find lookalike audiences, and that's who they put it. They don't just put it in front of anybody. They put it in front of people who are apt to buy your product. How cool is that? And you're not paying for it. They're just doing it because they want people on their platform. So you can't buy it. And that's pretty exciting. Mm-hmm.
That's neat. So it sounds then like you have complete control over the warehousing. So anything that you're live selling, you're also controlling, like where the shipping of the products and all of that. That's part of your business.
That's correct. Yeah. Most often. I mean, it depends. I should have talked a little bit more about Amazon Live. If you're someone who sells your product on Amazon, however you sell the product currently, if Amazon is warehousing them and selling and shipping your product for you, then that's how it's going to be done. If you're doing it yourself, then that's how it's going to be done. But Amazon Live is a free tool that is available to every single Amazon seller, and very few realize it. That if you are an Amazon seller, you can go live on Amazon Live anytime you want. It's amazing. And again, even if you have a show that nobody watches, it doesn't matter. because you have that content. And guess what? That content, you can pull out the best parts of it and put those as videos on your website. I'm sorry, not your website. Well, you could your website, but your product listing page. And we know that having videos on an Amazon product listing page increases conversions astronomically. It also increases your organic SEO ranking for various reasons. So it's such a win to have that video content on your product listing page. And if you can get an Amazon influencer to do an Amazon Live event for you, or have your product be one of the ones that they feature, that's even more valuable, because Amazon does pay attention to that as well. So again, this is just gold for
Oh my gosh, Marcy, so many more questions, but we're running really close on time. I'm going to ask one more and hope that you can answer it pretty swiftly, but it has to do with global buyers. So how, when you're doing live shopping, I guess you can control which markets you will sell into, and what is the percent American shoppers versus, people in Asia or Europe or Canada, for example?
Okay, that's a tough one, because again, it really kind of goes back to what you're already doing. If you're already set up to sell to Canada, great, you can sell to Canada. I mean, that's what's one of the other things I love about live shopping, is that there are not a lot of rules around it. You can do whatever's working for you or try new things. So it just depends on what your capabilities are behind the scenes in terms of shipping globally. But I can tell you that it's sort of this spigot that opens up the global space to you if you want it with live shopping. And again, America's the smallest. Europe has adopted it in a huge way. And we all know Asia was really where it happened, where it all began. And that's just off the charts what's happened there. So we're just kind of chugging along, but this year we're doing a whole lot more than chugging. We're really like, boom. So it's finally getting exciting in the US. And I'm so glad, because it really does, in my mind, it really levels the playing field for brands big and small, because it allows, and in fact, smaller brands are doing better with it, because they can be so nimble. Like, you can make a decision this morning to go live, and you can go live. And if it didn't go so well, you can quickly tweak it and go live again and do it better. You can delete your show if you want to, or not even show it. So there's lots of options with live shopping for the smaller, more independent brands.
Super. That was great. Thank you so much, Marcy. I know that there's still a lot of questions and excitement out there, so I encourage everybody that still wants to engage to consider the Live Shopping Academy that Marcy has put together, because it sounds like that is just a great resource for getting live in the shopping marketplace. So thank you, Marcy, for being here with us and for sharing your time and expertise. We've really enjoyed having you.
Oh, I had so much fun. Thank you for inviting me. Really fun. And yes, feel free to reach out to me directly on my website. Go to my website for resources, and you can learn all about what the Live Shopping Academy is all about as well.